145 pounds, boy, there's a lot of moving parts, right? Max Holloway is injured with something and has pulled himself out. But the very fight he pulled out of, he's now said, hey, look, maybe I did that too premature. Put me back in as a backup fighter just in case anything happens. Now, we don't have a lot more information. That wasn't meant to be a confusing riddle. That's actually what we've been told. I would deduce from that and think that you guys would agree with me. That means Max is okay. Perhaps he was misdiagnosed, or he recovered, or he screamed fire too soon. I'm taking it as very good news for Team Max. Hey, we're back. Not only are we back, we can even make that date. We'll do it in a backup role. So I think Max is there. It's very important if you're talking 145 that you got a real clear vision. Where is Max Holloway? Okay. We know what Volkanovski's doing. He's tied up with Zombie, and so therefore we know what the Zombie's doing. Now, Zabit is another one at 145, and Zabit's been floating around. I used to have to hear about Zabit Magacharipov from Errol Helwani, who helped me enunciate the name so that John Anik wouldn't get pissed. Okay. Right when I learned how to say Magacharipov, he's out. And it was never clear as to why. And I made some phone calls. I asked some people in the inner circle. Nobody really knew. It looks, though, now that we've got some clarity that there was an injury that team just didn't want to disclose. But that wasn't what I was always told. I was also told some of it was mental. He just didn't want to fight anymore. Now, I never know what's a negotiation, right? Okay, Zabit doesn't want to fight anymore. Where's his contract at? How many does he have left? I never know. Sometimes when you get to that, right, the old basic rule, follow the money, you'll get to the truth. I don't know. It was very unclear. All I do know is 1 month ago, Zabit reappears. He's even got a date. He's got no opponent. But he had a date. I'm coming back on February 28th, something along these lines, and I'm whipping somebody's ass. Okay, that's good news. For me, I like watching Zabit. I think that he's very clever. I think that he gets better between fights. I think that the comparisons to Abe Lincoln are fun. I like the length on 145 pounds and the crazy submissions he can get himself into, so I'm excited about that. Now we just need to have an opponent. There was rumors before Zabit took his oars out of the water that opponent was going to be Rodriguez. Hopefully we can get that back together. Because Rodriguez is a video game character. The only place you can see moves and techniques like Yair Rodriguez does is if you're playing video games. So that's going to be a great fight. I'm going to be excited for that. Well, now it looks like Zabit's not coming back. And again, it's as open-ended of a statement as it was when he left in the first place. We're, of course, going to be wondering, okay, is this mental or is this physical? Is his health okay and we need to wish him well? Or is he mentally having a hard time, struggling to get through the competition, which I think, in fairness, we would all probably understand. Not an easy thing to go and prepare for one of these and then actually make the walk. But is that what's going on? Because we've never really seen that with a top guy. There'd be something compelling. There'd be something, hey, tell us more. Tell us what you're going through. Let's see if we can relate. Maybe your story will help some other fighters. But we're not getting that. It's pretty quiet. So now you've got Ortega, who's as popular as any 45-pounder that we've ever had. Looks like Ortega is going to find himself a dance partner with Yair Rodriguez. That would be awesome. But guys, as I just bumbled through that entire division, as I just kind of touched on everybody and told you what's going on, I do have one conclusion that's a little bit larger than that, which is 45 is doing it right. 145 pounds is a division. It's very healthy right now. This was the division that was in question 4 years, 45 and down, 45, 35, 25, 4 years. Hey, what can we do? Do people want to see this size athlete at 145 pounds? The answer is yes. But moreover, the athletes within it are willing to go out there and compete. When I tell you that it's going to be Ortega versus Rodriguez, according to rumors, that idea was founded by Ortega. I love that. When the top guy calls out somebody, oh, and by the way, it's a really hard fight that a lot of people sit back and go, boy, I don't even know if you can win that one. But it was the guy's idea. That's cool. It's not calling somebody out ranked 7 places lower than him, or there's going to be a 5-1 underdog on DraftKings. He's calling out the man. I would not want to fight Rodriguez if I was a 45-pounder, only because you can't prepare for it. You will never find a sparring partner. You will never have an opponent, no matter how many matches you've had, and Ortega's had plenty, that does what Rodriguez does. So for me, it's, I would do it. I would never let the world know. But inside, okay, it's a crapshoot. You got to plan for it. I'm going to see it. I'm going to have my plan. It's either going to work or it isn't. But I'm not going to know ahead of time. I'm not going to have a good frame of reference because I can't get anybody that does what he does. So I really respect that Ortega went after a guy like that. respected Ortega, who, when he gets his heart broken in what some people are calling the greatest fight in the division, the history of that division, jumped right back on the horse. It's an important thing to do in life. That's where you will learn character of a person. The world's a big place. You get stuck in the cracks, you may never get out of it. You got to force yourself out of it sometimes. Ortega's passing all of those tests. I think that's good news. But I will look at some other divisions that are a little bit in a mess, and you can't point to one specific guy. Historically speaking, the guy that causes a problem for the entire division is the champion. You get a guy who decides he wants to be a closet champion. Worst guy in the world you could ever get advice from financially is a millionaire. The worst. Because he panicked. He stopped. He had a goal. He wanted to be a millionaire. He got the $1 million, and now he panicked. At one point, he had $100 that he turned into $1,000, that he turned into $100,000, that he turned into the million. The only difference between the millionaire and the billionaire mentally is the billionaire didn't quit when he got to $1 million. It's very important that you hear this because guys have that same mentality in fighting, and it always comes from the champion. We have to deal with this all the time. Boxing has never found a way around it. And MMA, sporadic, but when we have a problem with the division, it always starts at the absolute top. The millionaire who changed every way he used to do life, which is why he never got to $1 billion. It happens all the time with the champion. We have divisions right now. I'll submit for you 170 pounds. 170 not only has this problem right now, it has had this problem going on 3 years where guys don't want to fight. They've all decided they should be the number one contender. They've all decided they've already done enough. You'll know you've done enough when Dana White calls you and says, I'm fighting you for the championship, and puts the phone down. That's when you'll know. Until that comes, you don't need to ask yourself. You don't need to get together with your team. You don't need to go to social media. That and only that tells you I've done enough. But 170, they just don't have guys that want to compete. And they've got the opposite. They got a champion who will take on all comers. And not to mention, he'll fight 3, 4, 5 in a year if you let him. All their problems seem to be solved. But 2 through 10, they don't want to get in there and compete. 145 pounds is the exact opposite. It's a weight class that's on display. It's a weight class that's got some quick turnover. It's a weight class that can headline a pay-per-view. And it's not just because of what Volk is doing. Volk's being a great representative. Absolutely is. Volk having agreed to fight Max tells you all you need to know about Volk. Who the hell wants to fight a guy a third time? Your hardest fight, I've already got away with it once. Okay, here, let me just do it again to shut everybody. Now I got to go do it a third time? Volk said yes. And when that fight did not materialize, Volk said, keep me on the card and find me somebody else. They did, and Volk said yes. But the rest of the boys are also doing a great job. 145 is amongst the healthiest weight classes in all of MMA right now. And I hope that the other divisions can see it. I hope some of the other divisions get competitive with it. I hope some of the other divisions start calling each other out, start calling for their own shots. Ortega calls out Rodriguez, or Rodriguez says, okay. How many times do we see that happen? Not very often. You generally have 2 chickens in most divisions, but when you have one and then you have 2 guys that actually have some balls, it's a rare thing in this sport.